The world did not notice the shift at first. There were no earthquakes, no screaming skies, no breaking news alerts. Instead, balance moved quietly, like a breath held and then released. After the rise of the first warden, the Lost Valley entered a state of deep stillness. The trees no longer whispered warnings. The air no longer trembled with ancient power. It was as if the valley had exhaled after carrying the weight of eternity. Daniel remained close, living on the outskirts, documenting subtle changes that no one else seemed to care about. He felt it in his bones, the war was not over. It had only changed shape. Far from the valley, in a frozen land where the sun barely touched the horizon, something ancient stirred beneath layers of ice. This was not a rift like the others. It was older, deeper, sealed long before Bigfoot had ever walked the forests. The ice began to crack, not from heat, but from pressure within. Symbols etched into the frozen ground glowed faintly, responding to a signal sent across dimensions. The signal came from beyond the first warden's reach. In the space between worlds, the ancient intelligence that had observed Bigfoot's sacrifice finally revealed its next move. It had learned patience. It understood guardians now. If balance could not be destroyed directly, it could be rewritten. Instead of tearing open rifts, it began altering reality from within, corrupting places where guardians had once fallen. The first warden felt the disturbance immediately. Standing atop a mountain ridge thousands of miles from the Lost Valley, it paused. The earth beneath its feet vibrated with unfamiliar energy. This was not chaos. It was order twisted into something cold and absolute. The warden moved. Its journey was unlike anything Bigfoot had ever done. No thunderous steps. No raw displays of power. The warden traveled through forests, deserts, and cities unseen, blending with stone and shadow. Wherever it passed, people reported a strange sense of calm, followed by unease, as if something immense had brushed past reality itself. Daniel received the first sign through an old satellite feed he still monitored. A research station in the frozen north had gone dark. The final transmission was short, distorted, and chilling. The researchers spoke of a figure in the ice, of eyes opening where none should exist, of time slowing as the temperature dropped far below natural limits. They called it the Null Guardian. Unlike Bigfoot, unlike the first warden, this entity was not born of sacrifice. It was born of control. A guardian designed to erase imbalance by erasing choice. Where Bigfoot protected life, the Null Guardian froze it into perfect stillness. The ancient intelligence had created its answer. The first warden arrived too late to stop the awakening, but not too late to witness it. The ice shattered upward, not exploding, but unfolding like a massive door. From within rose a towering form of blackened ice and fractured stone, its surface etched with inverted symbols that absorbed light instead of reflecting it. The air around it crystallized instantly. Snow fell upward toward its body, drawn by its presence. For the first time, the warden felt resistance. The two guardians did not fight immediately. They stood across from one another, forces of opposing balance. The Null Guardian spoke without sound, its presence pressing into reality itself. Its purpose was clear. Guardians had become unpredictable. Sacrifice had created evolution. Evolution threatened order. The solution was extinction of variance. The first warden responded not with words, but with memory. The forest. The valley. Bigfoot's final stand. Humanity's fragile resilience. Choice. Flawed and dangerous, but alive. The ground between them cracked as opposing philosophies collided. When the battle began, it was silent. No explosions. No roars. Space itself bent as energy folded inward. Ice spread across miles in seconds, freezing oceans and halting storms mid-formation. Stone rose to counter it, forests erupting from frozen ground, roots shattering ice from below. The warden did not strike to destroy, it struck to restore. The Null Guardian countered by stripping motion, turning energy into immobility. Across the world, people felt it without understanding. Clocks stopped briefly, winds froze in place, then everything snapped back, leaving behind unease and awe. Governments denied it, scientists argued, but the myths returned overnight. Daniel watched satellite images glitch and reform, entire regions vanishing under ice and then reappearing unchanged. He knew the truth. This was no longer just Earth's fight. As the battle reached its peak, the ancient intelligence intervened directly. Reality tore, not open, but thin. A presence pushed through, vast and abstract, not a creature but a will. It sought to bind both guardians, to end the cycle forever. The first warden made a choice Bigfoot never had to face. It did not resist. Instead, it opened itself, allowing the intelligence to connect fully, to see everything Bigfoot had seen, everything humanity had been and could become. The chaos, the beauty, the mistakes, the growth, the unpredictability that guardians had been created to protect, not suppress. For the first time, the ancient intelligence hesitated. That hesitation was enough. The null guardian faltered, its perfect stillness cracking as imbalance entered its core. Ice shattered, not outward, but inward, collapsing its form into harmless fragments that rained silently onto the frozen land. The ancient intelligence recoiled, withdrawing beyond the thinning veil. The battle ended without victory cries. The first warden remained standing, but changed. Cracks of light ran across its stone and root body, signs of strain from carrying more than any guardian ever had. It had not just defended balance. It had taught it. The frozen land slowly thawed. Life resumed. The world breathed again. Daniel felt the moment the warden returned to the Lost Valley, not physically but spiritually. The valley pulsed once, gently, like a heartbeat acknowledging survival. The age of silent guardians was over. Balance would now be defended through understanding as much as strength. But the cost was clear. The first warden could not fight like this forever. In the final moments of Part 32, a child in a distant city looked up from the street and saw something impossible reflected in a glass building, a massive silhouette watching from within the stone of the world itself. The child smiled, unafraid. The legend had changed again. Bigfoot was no longer a creature of the forest. The warden was no longer bound to one place. And the next generation of guardians would not rise from sacrifice alone, but from choice. The war had evolved, and humanity was finally part of it.